You didn't really think it was going to be Monopoly, did you? I hope not. Well, now that that's over, I'm going to go over my top 10 games from 2024 because a new year means a bunch of new games, but we're going to go over some of the good ones from last year. Coming in number 10, that is going to be last of the top 10. And yes, I did rank them by number on purpose. So these are the top 10 dogs from last year. And number one, it will be number one. Number 10 is That's Not a Hat. That's Not a Hat is designed by Casper Lapp and published by Ravensburger Games. This is the only time I'm going to say that. And if you are interested in any of these games afterwards, just Google them, find them somewhere. But That's Not a Hat turned out to be a lot more game than I had anticipated. I heard a little bit about it at some point before going to PAX, and I thought, wow, that'll be a good casual game to play with our friends who are going to be there because we were planning on having a few groups, right? More than 4. So I was like, we'll get something that's more casual, can play more people. And we played this game on one of those days, pulled it out from the library at PAX, and my gosh, this is such a dumb game. It is so simple, and it's literally just how bad is your memory, but it's so funny because when you play this game, you have to remember a gift that you have received. Maybe it's the first time you're passing it. Maybe you haven't passed anything in 4 turns, and now all of a sudden you're given something, and you have to say, "Oh, well, I'm giving you this thing that you don't remember what it is." And there's a lot of fun in watching your friends struggle to make something up on the spot when they know that most likely someone is going to call them out for saying the wrong thing. But anyways, that's number 10. That's Not a Hat. Okay, don't beat me up here. I planned on having the games. Just turns out that I haven't bought all of the games that happen to be in my top whatever list. Oh, and you know what? Let me just throw it here. I did play 53 new games, new to me, last year. So narrowing it down to 10 was a pretty tight competition. So it's also why I don't necessarily own all of these, even though they are my top 10 games from last year. So number 9 with that is going to be River of Gold. River of Gold is a really cool game in which you roll a dice and you can use that die for one of a couple options that I'm having trouble remembering right now. But it is moving your ship down the river to collect resources or building in a building spot according to the die. Pay resources and stuff like that. But the game itself is just so simple and elegant. The box looks amazing. I'm going to put a picture up right here. It just looks really good. And when I saw it on the table, I was like, wow, that is a beautiful game. I want to play it. And then I played it, and it was awesome. It's going to be my top 9. I don't have much more else to say about it. Number 8, and I'm going to disappoint you because it is yet another game that I do not own. And it is Tidal Blades Heroes of the Reef. Dwayne, if you're watching this, yes, this did make my top 10 for last year. It is one of Dwayne's favorite games, if you guys are fans of the channel already and know who that is. And if not, he's just a good friend who showed me that game, and I really enjoyed it the first time I played. And I think we played it 3 times throughout the year, since like the middle of the year. And I have been wanting to play it more. The only reason we haven't played it more was because his copy, is currently being painted by our other friend Kevin, who is also co-host of the show. So, but yeah, his game is just being painted for a while, and then I don't know if it's done or we've just forgotten about it. But basically, you are a little hero guy that is going around 4 different arenas, and you are doing something that is specific to that arena, completing feats, and trying to upgrade your own character. And man, I really forgot the end game condition of it, but I know I really liked it. I like the mechanisms of it. I like the theme of it. I like how it feels like a complete game, um, for a shorter strategic game. Like I feel like, wow, I did a lot. I didn't do everything that I wanted to do because then it would just be too cheap and easy. But I got to do a lot with this time, and I don't think I've won, but it's still fun. Yeah, that's number 8. We just got this in, I think, at the beginning of December. I'm not really sure, but Fromage is a Kickstarted game that we got that we backed a while ago, and it actually fulfilled almost on time. Maybe there was a slight delay, but I was just so excited for this game. It's a rondel. Is it a rondel? You have a center board that spins, and then the segment of the board that is facing you is the segment that you get to do actions on with your little cheese worker guys. And basically, you spin the wheel doing actions until someone has ran out of cheese that you are making throughout this game, which I forgot to mention. But you are making cheese in this game, which is placement of a cheese maker. And when someone runs out of a cheese block of their cheese resource, then that will end the game. And you'll count up your points from how well you managed making cheese in the 4 different areas. And I don't know, it's just a really quick and easy game that I like the theme a lot. It's just harvest or making cheese and milking cows or livestock, I guess, to help you make those cheese and building your little I forgot what they're called, but you have buildings that there's a bunch of random ones that you can use to add variability to your game, but they give you sometimes abilities, they give you more end game stuff to go for, more end game points. And yeah, it's just all in all, really good game. And that is my number 8. Okay, number 7, Terminus. Can I just tell you guys something? I don't know why this is. Maybe some of you have the same thing. I really like fantasy games. I really like mystical, you know, themes that are abstract or colorful and fantasy. But for some reason, boxes like this that just have like infrastructure on them, trains, they just speak to me. And so we saw this one at PAX, and I pointed it out, and I said, "What is that game?" And luckily, one of the employees there at the Inside Up Games booth heard me say that and was like, "Oh, that game? Let me tell you a little bit about it." And he showed us the game on the table, and I was impressed. Um, they asked if we wanted to demo it. I said, "No, thank you. Just give me the game. Give me the game and give me the upgraded pieces." But basically, in Terminus, you and up to 4 other players are moving around a loop over 3 years, and every time you complete the loop, you are completing. Sorry, you have 3 years in the game, and in each year, you are going around the loop of actions 3 times. You don't have to go in order. It's all at your own pace. You can jump over people, you can go to the same spot as people, but you're doing different stuff. And the main point of the game is to build out your network onto the map. And it's, and for me, it's personally unique in that you can't just build your network all willy nilly. You have these things called terminuses, which is the namesake of the game. The terminus is the only place that you can build your network from. So once you make a decision to go one direction, that's where you got to go and you got to manage what you're doing. At the same time, all the other players are doing the same thing. You have a lot of roads where there's double roads and you can share with players. You can also use other players' stops or hubs to help extend your network when you yourself don't have access to your own stops or hubs. Now, it does give them a benefit, but in my opinion, it can be worth it to just extend yourself farther and worry about, putting down a stop later, or even securing, a place that you are prioritizing on the map. But at the same time, you have that network going, and you have this loop of actions. There are buildings that can get put out. I forgot what they're called. Development tiles. The development tiles. There's a bunch of them in 3 different categories, 3 different colors in the game, and they are randomly put into the game based on the amount of players. So you're not going to always have all of them available, which I think is really cool. Not only that, they will have a demand token on them, And those are going to be randomized as well. So you can't just rely on getting this certain development tile that after a few plays that you really like the action because, oh, the demand token might open up points for another player, or it has absolutely nothing to do with you. And you're like, well, I don't want to put that out yet. Someone else might snatch it up because they want that demand token. But anyways, you play this game over 3 years, 3 loops each. And at the end, whoever's got the most points wins. And for me, Terminus is going to win the 7th place on the list. Coming in at number 6 is Beyond the Sun. If you are a video gamer and you know what a tech tree is, this is basically Tech Tree, the board game, as Dwayne has called it before, and I will give him credit for that because I'm stealing it. But that's all this game is. You are in space, you are a faction, you are researching technologies, and kind of on the side, also like taking control of some planets and whenever they come up and vying for power against the other factions. But that's not really important. The important thing is doing the research and upgrading your faction's technology. There's something about this game that I think is just really satisfying in that your games are always going to be different. The texts that come up when you have to randomly draw them are going to always be different. There are not starting factions, but the default factions. It's fine. I really liked the game with that anyway. What really beefs it up for me is when you play with the asymmetric factions because they each have slightly different boards and abilities, and I think they really, really change how players are going to play the game. But yeah, this is going to be number 6 for me. It's a really great game. If you haven't tried it, try it. We are now entering the top half of this list. Sitting at number 5, Green and Proud, is going to be Board and Dice's Nucleum. Now, a lot of people said this was going to be the Brass Killer board, or that it is the Brass Killer board game. And I had a little bit of spite in my heart because Brass Birmingham is one of my favorite games. Number 1 in the world right now, according to BGG, which we all know is the realest, truest ranking metric ever. Nucleum does some of the things that Brass does. You have networks that you build. Those networks connect you to location, spaces, areas where you can build building tiles that produce stuff for you. But, you also have a player board where you're taking stuff off of to put on the board. And I guess maybe that's why people connect it to Brass so much. But essentially, you are spending coal and nuclear energy. They're called nucleums, I think. They're green stuff. But you do that to power these factories and stuff that you're putting on the board to get points and increase your score on the board. The unique thing with this game that I really, really like is that the way that you do actions in the game is you have these action tiles. And the action tiles, you can either put them on top of your board to just do the actions, or you can use them. You can permanently get rid of your action tiles that you have a limited amount of, put it on the board to start building your network. And you think, wow, that's a waste. Why would I throw away my action tiles that are letting me do stuff in the game? Well, guess what? If your tiles, because they're mostly dual colored, sometimes they have a wild side. If they match up with one of the location colors and or any other color on the other side via location or someone else's action tile, then you get to still do those actions one last time on the way out. And it just makes it to where the game is so flexible in that you can kind of have that gambit of a turn where you feel like, you know what? The only way I can do this thing that I want to do is if I throw away this action tile right here, which will lock in my connection to this network. And because I match one color, I'll still be able to do this action, which will let me blah, 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 blah. But guess what? The player before you, they put a tile down in that same area on the other side. And now your move just got upgraded because the tile you so happen to be wanting to lay down ends up matching. And so you get your cool thing that you want to do and a little bit of a bonus turn or action, whatever. But That's pretty much the spice of the game for me. Um, and I really like it. So it came in at number 5. Well, 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 look at what we have here sliding into that third bronze medal spot. A good old Lacerda, soon to be classic. Let me tell you, Inventions is a game where you are the leader of some group of scientists and scholars, and you are going around the world presenting your ideas, inventing other people's ideas, um, sending out ambassadors, doing other stuff. What I really care about is the theme of this game. When I saw this game, I said, wow, that looks ridiculously cool. That's the Lacerda game. Very, very cool. I was taught this game, and probably 3 minutes into being taught this game, I was like, oh, yeah. Oh, this is what I like. I got it. Let's just start playing. Let's go. I know it's and you know what? It clicked. It just clicked for me, this game. And I haven't gotten to play it as many times as I've wanted to. But regardless, even with the 2 or 3 plays, this still sits very high on the list. Of course, it is number 3. So, yeah, that's my number 3, Inventions. Next up, at a rock solid number 2, is this bad boy right here that is still in the shrink itself. Twilight Imperium 4th edition. Now, if you are a hobby gamer, like a really enthusiast hobby gamer, you've heard of this game. At the very least, you have heard of it. Not many people play the game, and I get it because guess what? This game can take upwards of 8 hours, if not more. My games have lasted, I think, 10, 9, and 9. The 3 times I've played, which were all this year. I'm very happy to have played it 3 times this year, even though I would have liked more. Obviously, other people's copies because mine is still sealed. But regardless, I got to play it, and I love this game. The political aspect of this game, where you're wheeling and dealing on the fly. You're trying to make sure that the other factions are off of your back, while at the same time working as much as possible in your interests. And that aspect of it, it's a little bit of like social, like I don't know, like social deduction. No, it's not that. That's wrong. Meh. But the social aspect of this game, huge plus for me. Not only that, I love big, long, meaty, grand strategic games. So the fact that this takes 8 hours, I know is a minus for a lot of people. I really enjoy the amount of content I'm getting out of those 8 plus hours. Um, and you might look at an image of this game on Google and say, "Oh, so you're just like fighting battles in space? Who cares? Why is there politics?" It's not the battles. It's not the battles that matter. Most times when you battle, you'll have 10 plus ships battling, in a system, and only one of them gets hit because space is huge. It's vast. It's hard to hit stuff out there. The combat is not really what makes this game great. The combat is a device in the game, but that's not what makes it great. It's the I, for me, it's the action selection system that you have each round, where each player will select. I think it's called a command tile, but it basically is going to be you selecting your main action for the round. And that also determines turn order in a round. And then on your turn, you take turns doing a tactical action, or you do your command tile action. And then if you do your command tile action, you usually get free access to whatever it is. And then everyone else in turn order can choose to pay something to follow that action. And I just think that the selecting which action is going to be right for you at any given time is really cool. And there's also this thing of hoping certain players pick something because it will benefit them. Sure, that's why they might pick it. But also, if you get to do that thing without you having to pick it yourself, it'll let you prioritize this other action, which is really cool. That's another huge plus. And if you know me, you know I love variability. You know I love variety is the spice of life, as they say. And this game comes with 17 different factions. Base game, 17 different factions to play and learn and lose to. Um, and something about that literally no game. Oh, also the galaxy is randomized, but no game is going to be the same exact game. I feel like it'll take me maybe 50 plays before I start to feel like that was kind of samey as before. At least that's how I feel right now. And this is why this is sitting at number 2 for me. So, oh, and I have played with the expansion with you know what? Is right here. I have played with the Prophecy of Kings expansion, which adds 7 more factions and components for 2 more players. So if you really wanted to, you could play this game with, I'm pretty sure, you can play this game with up to 8 players with the expansion. I've never played that. I think it would be awesome to play that. Everyone that I have played with says that it would be a nightmare, and I think we've only ever played at 8 or 6, sorry. I think it'd be fun. But anyways, that's why this is at number 2 for me. It's a great game. And that's Twilight Imperium. Before I show you this next one, just really quick. Just remember, these are not technical reviews of the games. This is just me putting them in a list and how I feel about them. So don't think too much on my synopsis of the game. And now for the grand finale. Here is number 1. SETI, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. This is my number 1 game, new to me game of last year, It might be my current number 1 in general, but regardless, it is number 1 new to me game for last year, and that is going to be SETI. This game it's honestly, it's a little bit of a point salad, which I don't necessarily care for in general, but the point salad part of it feels more of just a consequence of your grander strategy in the game, and you just happen to be accumulating points. But you're not just targeting 2, 3, 4, whatever points at a time with each action. They just, like I said, they're consequences of, or really just rewards of actions that you're doing, the combination of actions that you'll be doing throughout this game. And you're just like, oh, my priority is doing this. And on my way to doing that, I'm going to get 2 points here because of this. And, because I'm the second one to scan this place. But what I really wanted was the data so that my next turn I could analyze a blue link and then reveal the one of the new aliens or one of the alien species, because I'm going to put the last link down. And if that sounded like gibberish to you, don't even worry about it. Play this game if you like any games that are over 30 minutes, play this game. But in SETI, you and the other players are each just you're not even really a faction, which I feel like expansion, that could be something, asymmetric factions. But you basically have a player board that has space for technologies, and you have an income card that is going to give you a starting amount of resources. You're going to have some cards to start with that are going to basically, they kind of dictate what you're doing from the beginning of the game, kind of like Ark Nova if you've played it. But anyways, you're going to be spending your turns each round of the 5 rounds. You're going to be spending your turns, spending resources. You have 6 different actions. You're going to be researching technologies to put onto your board to make your actions stronger or to make some benefits stronger. You're going to be sending probes out from Earth to explore the galaxy. You're going to be putting those probes in orbit on the different planets that you may be visiting. Or you can even land them on the planets. You can even land them on the planet's moons, depending on if you have the right technology unlocked. Some other stuff you're going to be doing, you're going to be paying for cards out of your hand, usually with coins, but there will be some instances where you pay with energy. You'll see why later. And you're going to be scanning the different sectors of the galaxy and trying to vie for majority and research done in each of those sectors. I think what it is, and that's going to give you some rewards if you are the person that wins the majority, whether it's points or um, link tokens for you to place and gain more rewards from. But the big thing in this game is the links. It's a pretty big thing, but the links themselves just open the door to a combination of two randomly drawn aliens that are in the game that you do not know at the start of the game, which for me, I think is so cool that they just you just find out mid game that, you know, one of the aliens is this species. And you might not even ever get to see the other one depending on how fast the game ends. Usually you do see the other one because people want to see them. But yeah, you just have two different alien species that are going to be randomly showing up. And then all of a sudden, your strategy changes because you didn't know those were in the game. But now that they're in the game, you realize, oh my gosh, actually, if I scan next, I can get the blue link benefit, put it on that new thing, that new alien species board, which will let me draw a special card from their alien specific deck. And this is where I get the card that says, actually, I don't have to pay money anymore, or not anymore, but this card that gives me a benefit costs energy. And that's great because I ran out of coins a long time ago, and all I have is energy and enthusiasm. And so we're going to pay with the energy for this card that lets me do so and so and so and so. And guess what? I won the game. Spoiler alert, I haven't actually won this game. I've played 4 times in the month of having this, in less than a month of having this, in about 20 days. And I've tried to play it more. It's really hard to get people to commit to playing this game for some reason. A lot of times, I think I actually only started playing 10 days ago. And in those 10 days from playing it for the first time, I've played it 4 times total. And it has shot up into my number 1 game of 2024. Don't you dare say it's recency bias. And if you comment that, I will thank you for commenting. And leave any other comments that you want. And if you want to see more videos that are like not the podcast and more short, ish videos, subscribe, come back, talk to me. Bye, thanks.